It's your boy Toby D, and you already know what it is. It is pound for pound. Guys, I'm sorry I did not do one yesterday on Sunday after the game. I did that on purpose because I wanted to see what the end result of the Saints and Carolina game was going to be yesterday, plus the night game against the Eagles and the Seahawks. Thank you, by the way, Eagles, for not helping us out at all. Y'all been dominating for most of the season, just like Minnesota. But you couldn't do it last night in Seattle. But you know, hey, yes, it is hard to win up there in Seattle, so I guess we can give them a little excuse that they did not play well, only scoring 10 points. I do admit I did fall asleep on that game, but when I looked at it online on my phone, I was just like, wow, 24-10. I can't believe this. Against a depleted secondary and y'all couldn't do nothing against them boys? Well, I guess Matt Bryant really couldn't do much against them either with 195 yards. Yes, he did have 2 touchdowns in the game, but it was still only 195 yards, which brings me to my next point of his next game of 173 yards. What the heck was that all about? I really don't get it. 173 yards, Matt Bryant? Not to mention no touchdowns? Really? I'm sorry, y'all. He did not play well yesterday, and you can tell he did not look good. And I'm sure many of you saw the article that came out about what Everson Griffin said. Yes, he said Matt Ryan looked very scared yesterday. Yes, they didn't get any sacks, but they pressured him. You can tell. The whole offense was looking pretty intimidated. I'm sorry. Now, I know Julio Jones is never scared, and apparently Mohamed Sanu wasn't either, because Mohamed Sanu, hey man, shout out to you, by the way. Holland, he wanted some more of that ball. Should he have gotten more balls thrown to him? Yes, I think he should have. Unfortunately, though, because Matt Ryan never looked comfortable in that game, he couldn't get many balls going to him. And the one that he tried to make look good, like he caught it, well, they came back after reviewing it and they changed the call to an incomplete pass. You know, when it's going bad, it's just going bad. And it's like what they've been the first 8-9 games of the season showed back up yesterday. Drop passes, couldn't catch the ball, penalties. It seemed like everybody on the offense was just joining in on penalties yesterday. I mean, Justin Hardy had 2 of them, and he wasn't even going out on wraps. What's the meaning of that? Mr. Jake Matthews, Alex Mack felt like he needed to get a piece of it. Penalties, that is. It just was a penalty-ridden day. It almost started reminding you of what the refs tried to do to the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday night. But of course, Georgia said, we ain't having it. We're not going to let y'all take this game. We're going to put it out your hands, and that's exactly what they did. Now, unfortunately for the Atlanta Falcons, we couldn't do that. Couldn't even score a touchdown. But when your defense plays as well as they did and only holds a team to 14 points, a Minnesota team, by the way, guys, who had a 1,000-yard receiver, Adam Thielen, besides Julio Jones, who had 1,000 yards, who held him down with a depleted secondary of their own, no Desmond Trufant, a Brian Poole who got downgraded to questionable on Saturday night after Dan Quinn said he was going to look good to play. Go figure. I don't know. Has anybody still found out why that was? I mean, I have a theory on why that was. I mean, you got a game coming up on Thursday night, preferably more important. It's a divisional game. As they say, it counts as 2. Your last 4 games are division games. This is the last one at the house because you're going on the road the next 2 games and come back home against Carolina, the last game in week 17, which could determine if you or Carolina is going to make it into the playoffs, because 3 teams that was looking like they was going to make it might not make it. It might very well be 2 teams coming out of the West now in the NFC, between the Seattle Seahawks, who currently have switch spots with us as the 6th spot because they won last night because the Eagles could not do anything to stop them in their house. So now we're on the outside looking in. Slightly, of course. I don't think we have to worry about Green Bay or Detroit or the Dallas Cowboys. But now we got to worry about Carolina and Seattle. Now, of course, if we sweep everything all the way through and win the last 4 games against our division rivals, then there's no need for this hoping that we get in talk at 10-6. We can ill afford to lose really any more games. We're up against it right now. But playing like we did yesterday is not going to help. Now, I do have one nod of encouragement. We are playing against some suspect secondaries and pass rush, what should help Matt Ryan out because unfortunately, as you all very well may know, Andy LaVitri went down with a triceps injury. Although it's not season ending, it is, of course, going to have him out probably 2 or 3 weeks with a torn triceps injury. And that means our buddy, Mr. Ben Garland, gets to come in, Mr. Swiss Army Knife, who basically does everything. Although you haven't seen him much on the defensive side of the ball this season. He's been mainly doing some offensive things, coming in a heavy package down at the goal line if needed with Dontari Poe, of course, to punch in a couple of touchdowns if need be. We've seen him do that in a few games now, and it has worked pretty effectively. But, you know, Ben Garland is now in at the left guard position, and that could really make Matt Ryan at an unease type of situation. We shall see in these next 4 games. We will need Andy LaVitri back. I know some of you complain about him. You don't really like him. But he is pretty solid as a left guard. Now, whether he's still here next season or not, we shall see. I do not know. But my boy Matt Ryan, and I will be, Lord willing, representing you when I leave on Thursday because I will have Matt Ryan on my shirt. Big picture of him, as a matter of fact, and I believe I'm going to go with Julio Jones on Saturday while I'm still in California, hanging out with Miss Teresa and my AMQ crew. Shout out to Teresa, by the way. She came in last week and hung out with the guys and helped us out. She runs things now in the operations department with both warehouses, the one in California and the one in Atlanta, man. And for some reason, I made a bet with her that the Falcons would not only return back to the Super Bowl this year, but they would win it. Yes, I know it sounds crazy, but it must have been the effect of the swamp thing I had at Papa Do's. And if any of you have had those swamp things, you know they are good. If you have not had one, go on and get it. Now, I'm not advocating you to become an alcoholic. I'm just saying those swamp things are good. Okay, and I have had 1 or 2 here or there. But something must have been in it that night to make that type of bet. So, I don't know. I'm getting my money warmed up just in case I do have to pay off my debt come in February. But hey, it is what it is. I'm a man about mine. I got to do what I got to do. You know, looking forward to seeing her when I get up there Thursday. If we don't win this game and I see her on Friday, she's probably going to talk about us because now we would be on a 2-game losing streak. But I'm hoping that is not the case, especially since it's been reported that Desmond Trufant and Brian Poole is going to be back in this game. I believe Brian Poole could have played Sunday, but with a Thursday night game coming up, which is a huge game and could determine us winning this division, because currently, as you all very well may know, that the Saints are leading the division right now. And they have swept the Carolina Kitty Cats. But it is what it is. Hopefully that does not happen to us because we're already 1-1 in the division and we need this pretty badly. So let's see how it goes. But we got to stop the penalties. And Matt Ryan, we cannot have you playing timid. Let's go get it. I understand you're going to have a guy down. You already didn't get Chris Chester back, and you have to deal with Wes Schweitzer being your right guard. But come on, man, let's do it. We need you. You have yet to have a game where you are throwing more than 2 touchdowns. And last year you had quite a few of 3 and 4 touchdown games, especially in our own division. We killed it. We need you to do it in these next 4 games, man. Give me 3 touchdowns in this game. Okay? That's all I'm asking. And more than 173 yards. Okay, now that's Jake Fromm numbers, but Jake Fromm does what he needs to do for the Georgia Bulldogs, and we need you to do a little bit more than that with 10 years under your belt. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with all the penalties and things that have hurt us, and Adam Thielen, who we basically shut down, him and Diggs, Adam makes the play that he needs to make to help Minnesota run the clock out and get out of here with a 14-9 winning game. Not to mention Matt Bryant misses what I consider a chip shot for him. Could have brought the game within 2. I know many of you say, why didn't Dan Quinn go for it? But for whatever reason, he decided not to do it. He thought at least, since we were hitting field goals, that if we get down only by 2, down 12-14, we can move the ball enough to get down there in field goal range and run the clock out enough where Minnesota's offense could not get it back, because even if they got it back, our defense was playing pretty well to hold them. That we can beat them 15-14. Speaking of defense, guys, Takk McKinley is looking pretty doggone good, if I must say so myself. I mean, dude's get off is crazy. Now, he did have an offsides because he was trying to jump and time the snap of the ball between Case Keenum and the center. But hey, after he had that offsides, he's come back with a monster sack. And it was huge for us. We had pretty much held that offense down all day long. Now, unfortunately, I got to give the slight nod over to Minnesota's defense, who held us to all field goals all day long. And had Matt Bryant had made that field goal he made, it would have been his 4th one of the day. But, you know, like I said, when things are going bad, it's going bad. 1 for 10 on 3rd down. Good God. We came into this game first in the league on 3rd downs. Now, of course, the backside of that, we was playing the top defense against 3rd downs. And unfortunately, the defense won. And you know, you heard Dan Quinn, I read that he said that he was actually quite shocked that we didn't play well, especially on 3rd downs, when we had great practice sessions. Unfortunately, none of that translated onto the field. And as far as Julio Jones goes, look, give credit to Xavier Rhodes. You know, I made excuses at first that because we didn't have a lot of our offensive line those 2 years they did beat us, that Julio couldn't get the ball. But we had a pretty decent offensive line, although we lost Andy Levitre. And we didn't win. Julio pretty much got shut down. And the one time Julio hides from Rhodes and goes back out into the formation, and Rhodes is already covering somebody, Matt Ryan once again misses him. It was going that way all day, man. He just was rushing passes, man. I need you to get it together, Matt. You my boy, man. Let's get it together. Congratulations. You and your wife, Sarah, having twins. But come on, man. Let's get this thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to leave it at that, man. Hey, y'all continue to like, share, comment, all those wonderful things. And subscribe. Again, it's Toby D, man. It's pound for pound. You know how I can do, but I'm going to let you run the rest of the show. And I'm out. Peace.